Hey guys, Adar here. I'm going to be walking you through my MP40 loadout that I'm currently using. Vanguard's brand new. A lot of us are still trying to figure out what the meta is and if there is a meta. I strongly believe there is. I think it's the MP40 and the STG. So I'm going to be walking you through the MP40. I'll give you a quick overview of some of the attachments and the perks that I'm using. Everyone has just historically known, it's been this way since forever, that the MP40 is probably one of the most dominant guns in the World War II era games of Call of Duty. It's been the case since, in World at War, that MP40 absolutely melted people when you put the silencer on it without the scope on. It was incredible. And that's kind of the case here. It's giving me a lot of vibes, it's reminding me a lot of what that weapon was like back in the day, which is quite nice. This might get nerfed. As it stands, I'm level 59 on this weapon, which unfortunately means I haven't unlocked lengthened yet, which gives you +3 bullet velocity. That's huge. +3 bullet velocity effectively is the time it takes for your weapons, your bullets, to hit your opponent, and effectively could be the difference between you dying or them killing you if you start shooting at the same time. So as soon as that's unlocked in a couple of levels, I'm going to be sticking that on, and that will be the only difference to this class loadout. So let's get started. We'll start with muzzle. The muzzle that I'm using at the minute is all about recoil control. I did tie up the option between the M1929 silencer. I would often use that for free-for-all, but because we're playing a lot of TDM domination games at the minute, I'm going to go with the strife compensator for that added recoil control. We're not going to be using this gun at long range per se, but it does give us that option to do so, and you'll see why in a minute, because there's a couple of other perks that add on that actually increase recoil, and having that added recoil control just types to balance it out a little bit more. For the VVD, we're going for the VVD for the barrel. This is going to be all about the multipliers on the limbs and the and the arms. The only con here is we're going to lose headshot damage, but actually the body mass of the arms, the legs for example, are significantly higher, so I think we're actually going to do better by getting multipliers on the limbs rather than the head, which obviously is where you would lose some bonuses. The other thing is that there's less damage fall off at long range, so if we wanted to, and we wanted to potentially fry people from across the map, we have the option to do so, because you're not losing that damage range at a distance. You're keeping that slightly higher. So whilst the MP40 isn't made, it's not an STG, it's used for upfront in your face battles. Having that option if you need to fall back and reposition, is a good thing to have. For the optic, I always say this is kind of up to you really. I would either go no optic or go slate reflector. If you're kind of just starting to level up, I would suggest moving to the NIDA model 47 and then coming back down again to the slate refractor later on as well. So for the stock, for me, this is all about sprint to fire speed. So I spend a lot of the time moving around the map, slide cancelling, bunny hopping, a little bit of a sweat. I bought some back paddles to make that a little bit easier. So having the ability to move quickly across the map for me is huge. If you're pushing teams, you need to slide, you need to move out the way. You're going to be, for my case, anyway, I'm going to be in an automatic tack sprint for the majority of it. So I need to be able to move out of that automatic tack sprint into a ready, ADS motion as quickly as possible, and putting this stock on allows me to do that, because I get the +2 on the sprint to fire speed plus the movement speed as well. I mentioned before there were some attachments that we added on that actually reduce the accuracy and the recoil, so that's why we've got the strife compensator on, because it actually adds that recoil control and starts to balance out some of the negatives and the cons of using the folding stock. So proficiency is kind of up to you. Again, I put it on for brace to get that initial accuracy and recoil control, because the initial kind of, as you start shooting the MP40, that's when you start to really feel the recoil, and it takes a minute to kind of control that. And again, it goes back to balancing out what we did with the stock, where we lost the initial accuracy and recoil. So that just kind of help to balance things out a little bit. I mentioned before, I'm all about moving around the map really quickly. We've got the sprint speed here. Simple, no cons. You get to move around the map more quickly. You get to fry players, more aggressively. It's only a good thing. This has been around for a long time, the stippled grip take. This again is about recoil recovery and initial recoil as well. So that balances out some of the cons that we saw on the stock. Magazine, I'm actually going to leave it at the minute. I was looking at the 64 round drums. You get a lot more ammo. So if you're playing 24v24, 12v12, you're playing a lot of big TDM domination matches, I could see this being an advantage. But for the most part, you lose -2 aim down sight speed, -1 reload speed, and -1 movement. Yes, we added a few others to kind of actually balance out the movement speed, but there are way too many cons for me at the minute, so I'm just sticking without any magazines. So standard 32, I think that's only a good thing. I haven't unlocked this ammo type yet, but the one I'm using at the minute is just because it says the Vanguard, which is delayed enemy healing. It means that you can hit players and they can move around, or stops them from moving around the corner potentially, so you can actually hit them, without them running away and giving them an opportunity to reposition. For the underbarrel, this is all about aim down sight speed. So submachine gun, the three things for me, or the two things really, is the aim down sight speed and the sprint to fire speed as well. If I'm sprinting around the map trying to get behind the enemy spawn, trying to get in their spawn, I need to be able to pull up my sights more quickly, and I also need to be able to pull in and aim down sight ADS more quickly as well. So that's the quick overview. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. Obviously camos and stuff doesn't really matter. I'm trying to work my way through to a gold, and I think this will probably be the quickest gold across all of the submachine guns across everyone's game, to be honest. I can see this one being the quickest to rank up just because of how often I see it in the game. So I'm going to put a couple of clips in the background so you guys can get a feel of what this weapon's like. Let me know what attachments you're using. If there's anything that you would change, let me know. Look forward to the next video, and hope you guys enjoyed this MP40 overview.
Mission ready! Find the bonuses! Momentum! Double kill! Teammate called a bombing run. Heads up! Recon mission ready! Find the boss! Fury